Imagine this community without Stark State, without Kent State Stark, without I-77 coming right through the heart of it, or without the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Clayton Horn seems bigger than life, and some people think there's a myth because how could one person do all of those things? One person was responsible for all those things, and it was because of his love for this community. Clayton Horn came to the Canton Repository in 1928 as a sports writer. He left for a short period of time, went to East Liverpool, newspaper over there, and then came back and was the editor of the Canton Repository in pretty much the 50s, 60s, and early 70s.
Clayton Horn was important, I think, because he saw the potential for this community and saw the newspaper's role in playing a part in fulfilling that vision. He was involved directly in making sure that highways came through this area, highways that would benefit the entire community. 2 universities are here now because of his work, and of course his huge influence with the Pro Football Hall of Fame being here and the newspaper's role in the Pro Football Hall of Fame being here.
As the executive editor of the Canton Repository, Clayton Horn played an invaluable role in getting the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Now, Clayton eventually became a member of the Board of Trustees, but in the initial push to get Canton site designation, he was critical. Chuck Such and Jermaine Swanson had brought the idea to him that pro football needed a Hall of Fame, and as Clayton would later say to him when he was endorsing the idea, he said, "Chuck," he says, "pro football needs a Hall of Fame and the logical site is here," or something to that effect. But that ended up becoming the banner headline that Chuck ran over his article, endorsing the idea and telling the people why Canton was the logical site. So Clayton really embraced the idea, as did Henry Timken with the Timken Roller Bearing Company then. And the two of them really became the 2 guys that held the keys to the castle. Clayton Horn controlled the media. Timken controlled the purse strings. He gave the first $250,000 towards a $400,000 campaign, and Clayton Horn, through the newspaper and committees that Chuck and Swanee and Clayton formed, largely through the Chamber of Commerce and the Junior Chamber of Commerce, raised the rest so that they could go to the National Football League like no other of the applicants were able to do and say, not only do we have the historical reasons, we have community support and the money to do it.
Those of us living and working in Stark County today, and many who have come before us, owe such a debt of gratitude to Clayton Horn for his insight, his vision, and his dedication to wanting to serve the community and beyond.
But for a guy to do as much as he did for this community in his lifetime is really remarkable, considering he had so much power. He really had power, but he always used it for the civic interest of his community.
About 2 years ago, we put on our front page the idea of moving our community forward. It was an idea that came out of some meetings here, what it is we wanted to be able to do in the community, move the community forward. And as we looked at recognizing people who were doing that, we said, whose spirit is really living in these awards?
Clayton Horn meant so much to this community, cared for this community, but it seemed to me that he was the go-to person at a pretty influential time in our history. So we decided that the people that we're honoring tonight are the go-to people. When there's an issue in our community, these are the people that we go to help us solve them.
He was moving the community forward decades before that label was attached to anything. So I think it's a wonderful legacy for him and for this newspaper to recognize people in the community who are living that spirit every day.